Hello everyone, my name is Tris and this is Double O'Neill. I hope you're all keeping well. I'm going to bring you a layout update video, and I could have done all the work and then talk about it afterwards, but I wanted to show you, as I always do, the progress and the process. What I wanted to do for a little while is sort out this back area here. I've got an area where a back scene will be going in this episode, and I'll be adding in some foliage, fences, and really just finishing off this area to the point that when I look at it, it feels like I've actually got one area of my railway which looks complete. Well, ish anyway, because it will never be complete, as we always say. On this area, it will be my car park. Obviously, back then not everyone had cars, but you had lorries and things that came in, and the odd rich man that had a car, or there's a family that had a family car. And I'm using this buff ballast by Wooden Scenics, and I got it from Tony's Trains of Rugby. And the initial main reason was I was there, and I've been thinking for ages it'd be nice to have a ballast that went there that would be the right colour, and I thought maybe I'll paint it. But then I found this stuff labelled buff, and I thought, great, that's my colour. I like that kind of light beigey stony colour, which should be pretty good for around here. What I wanted to do was put it on kind of thickish, so then the area is covered, just get some coverage on there. And there's a layer of PVA glue. It's just neat PVA glue, and I use my brush and I tap it down so it just squishes onto the PVA glue, so then when it's dry it'll be fine. I put too much in to begin with, which is fine. I then brushed that onto the other PVA glue and work my way over, then add more if I need to. I don't want to get the brush starting to have glue all over it because I've gone too far. So I was being neat and tidy and taking my time because I wanted a nice flat surface, like you would imagine most car parks to be reasonably level. Well, you hope they are. Some of them are terrible that we go to from time to time. And I just brush it in and brush it around. Now, the back scene. We've all seen back scenes being done. I think mine's overkill. I went for some thinner ply. I think this is about 5mm. So I thought that should be alright. I don't always worry about the whole thing with it warping. My other back scene's 9mm ply, which is completely over the top. There's no real structural strength to it, but you don't want it to warp. Anyway, I bought this from B&Q, just some of their normal ply that they have. Feels slightly overpriced when you buy it, but fine, it is what it is. Got it down the middle. I then have two lengths that are 300, and then there's the lengths that I'm cutting then, so then we can put it up in the loft and it'll be in those right kind of places. Well, you'll see anyway. Sanded it, made it smooth, and then I needed to cut a small angle because of the shape of the roof, so I got some cardboard and I started just trimming until I was happy. So then I have a template to work with. I don't want to get the wood in there and start scratching up the roof. Nice and simply done. Grab a pen, I make a mark, and then my template is done. I guess I can keep that cardboard for something else for another day, or it just goes into recycling. Now I just cut that up, and it should be good. There we are. We'll put it in place. And all I'm using to hold it in place is some screws at the back. Nice and simple. With this obviously now being correct, what I want to do is use a back scene, and I'm going to use one of the ID back scenes. I can't remember which one I have that's behind my main line that goes on the railway, but this ID's back scenes one looks like something out of not quite Peak District, but it looks close to it. And before I'd used PVA glue to hold it on, and I didn't have great success. So this time I decided that I would use double-sided tape. And I picked this up from the guys at Budget Model Railways. I felt that this looks like a more simple routine, though you don't get any second chances when you lay it on. I actually did ruin one of the sheets. Now, this looks nice. I'm sure you'll agree. And what I do is I go and stick it on. I just need to make sure it's straight, and I had to decide if I want more sky or more landscape. But I went for landscape because I think that's going to be the bit that catches the eye when you look at it, more than just the blue sky. Once that's done, we just have to trim that out, and I've got a knife. Yes, I am cutting towards me, but I am well clear of my knees and legs and stuff like that. I've got to keep myself safe. Actually, my knife could have done with being a bit sharper as well. It just wasn't, but it was fine. It did the job, and that was that. When I wanted to do the other side, I just had to consider actually making sure that they join where these cut, well, where the cut came, you know, so then when it goes up onto the layout, it does look nice. So that's something I was thinking about, and then I realised I only had just enough left, so I couldn't believe it. So I thought, fine, this is good, we're gonna be okay. So again, down with the tape, the double-sided tape. I just had some old rolls kicking around, and we stick it on. And as long as you do it in a confident way, you should be alright. But I know that, you know, you can make a mistake, and then you ruin your sheet that tried to stick to it. Whereas if it's PVA glue, you can still move it around, but you have the wrinkling that I got on the other one, so not so good. So I bring this down, I pick up the bottom edge, try and make sure that it's straight, and then I confidently go in, basically push it down onto it, and there we go. I'll just trim off the edges and it'll be done. Well, there's one in place, and I just screw it in from underneath. I'm not going to be lifting it out anytime soon. It's going to hopefully live there for a long time. The other side, a bit more tricky. I don't want anything to go wrong, but I drop it in, but I want it to line up. I had some little edges for it to rest onto. My worry is that when you look at it closely, even why I've got it here, there's a fractional difference, but I had a little mess around with it and I was kind of happy with it. And since actually looking at it, looking back, I don't spot the difference, which is nice. So that looks good. Actually, this is a bit of footage with the layout done. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen it. That's my 14XX rocking around. Now the next stage is to move my signal to the left hand side. I understand the Great Western Railway locos were right hand drive, but a lot of the time the fireman was looking out for the signals more than anything. And apparently from time to time signals are on the right hand side, I've been told. But I thought, whilst I'm here, I'll pop it on the left hand side. Nice and easy. I drill out the hole. I go for a 15mm hole with this, so I start with a pilot hole, drill it out with a big drill, and then we pop it in. So this is what I'd had on the last update. So you see me shifting over. Someone commented that they're on the wrong side, and I thought, fine, I'll give it a fix. Now, this kiss of bits, I can't find where I got them from. It was eBay, but can't remember the seller's name. But I know that there are other companies that do them, and you'll know these companies. Tony's at Tony's Trains has these in stock by Scale Model Scenery, and yeah, check them out. Theirs look similar to this. You get some wire with it. You get the wooden bits. I wanted to paint these up in a concrete kind of post colour, because I'm assuming that's what they would have been. So I get my airbrush out and I go and spray a load of different greys on. So I started actually with a grey primer, which is cool, and then I added some other different greys in here and there until I got it about right, really, and then just let that dry, and then obviously we do the other bits with it. Once that's dry, I snip them all out. They come with a bit that then can go into the ground, and it goes to a bit of an edge, so there's a step, which is good. After this, I poke the wire through, which initially was a pain, and I thought there must be a better way to do this. Kind of find one and then get the other and kind of poke that in. Obviously, if you've got 100 of these, that's going to take ages. And yeah, there is a better solution to this, or maybe there's a much better solution than what I came up with. But I ended up kind of organising with posts those bits to make it easier to go in, and so then you can poke them in easier, and then you just gonna keep going and going and going. This process took, I don't know, like 20 minutes, but it was quite kind of therapeutic in a vague way. I guess some people would find this frustrating if you just keep doing this for hours and hours if you had loads of these. But I don't know, the whole thing with hobbies is they're things not to be rushed, right? Unless your hobby is running, then obviously, there's a bit rushing there. Anyway, I glue the ends with some super glue, and I put some glue on anyway, and then I push the post up so then it sticks to it, so that we've got an end, because we don't want them all falling off. That'd be quite emotional after this stage, wouldn't it? I'd be a bit frustrated. You go up to the loft, and then half your fence posts have fallen on the floor, and then paint it grey over the top afterwards, because you can see the super glue a bit. But with that done, I then drill where I want it to go, and I post it in with some glue, and then we move to the next one. So what I do is I'll be quiet and let you watch me do this process. With it installed, I'm happy. The wire might be a little bit shiny, so you could spray some matte varnish on it if you wanted, if you felt it's a bit too reflective. But let me know what you think. Adding the other areas in with it, I was kind of happy with it. I've got this other fence on there now, great. So now I'm adding some of the Scale Scenics trees from Hornby. I've been collecting them over the past year. I didn't buy them on one go, that would be far too expensive on one go. Cut off the base, and I drill a hole and I stick it in. You can leave the base on if you wanted, but you'd need to do your scenicking afterwards. But I'm going to put it here to kind of hide the edge of the bridge and try and help everything blend into that back scene. But at the moment, kind of happy with how everything's blending in. It's looking kind of nice. I don't know what you think, but something about these back scenes, it's just stunning. I guess they've just photographed a real place, but I don't know, it just transforms how you feel about what you're looking at. Anyway, I stick that tree in. It's nice and simple. I end up not gluing these just in case I have to pull them out. Some of them I did, some of them I didn't. It all depends how they're sitting. I had to be careful actually on this tree. It did touch some of the coaches as they come past, so it was an idea to have a little shift around afterwards. But anyway, we drill holes, we hoover, and we move on to the next one. All these trees were these Scale Scenics ones of various different types that they have. They've got quite a few in their range, and I honestly think they're quite good. After that, I want to blend things in. I'm going to use the Fine Leaf Foliage. I've got the light green and medium green that they do. Actually, the Hornby magazine guys, they use this quite a lot when I see them do the videos. And actually, I spoke to Tony to get some, and he was out of stock because I guess this stuff's popular. So he ordered some in. I went in a few days later, and I was able to start enjoying putting this on the layout. So I was really, really pleased because this stuff's got like little bits of twigs inside it and everything with the foliage on. It's quite impressive. Like when you start looking at it, and you can use it for making mini trees, bushes, and I guess general growth up things. It's good. Look at that. It's like a ready-made bush in a packet. Mind you, these packets aren't cheap. You're going to spend a little bit of money on them. But you get what I feel is a really, really good product at the end of the day. what I want to do is blend in the back, because I want to try and get rid of these hard edges. So that's where you'll see little bush rows going in all down the back here. And it's something that I've been falling in love with as I do it, and I can't wait to do the other stages of my railway because I know what I want to do now. So just again, putting in another tree, hoovering it out, and enjoying hiding things with it. That line, yes, we can still see it. I'd have to have one as high as the sky, but we're not. But since getting into doing my railway more recently, I've with this back scene up at the tree there, I don't spot it so much. Yes, I can see it there, but it doesn't offend me. It's like when the back scenes end, that doesn't offend you either. Now that looks pretty tidy, right? I'm happy with it. I know some of you might be looking at it thinking, that looks terrible, I don't know, but hey, it's the best I can do and I really like it. The way that it looks like there's a hedgerow, then there's a field, then further down there's another hedgerow. That's kind of cool. On this area, so the other side of the station bit, I wanted to add again 3 trees in there and just try and blend in all the area, and then we're adding all that finally foliage. That's going to be, for me, nice, because every time I look at the area I see it just going behind the other back scene and it just doesn't look good, does it? So what we do is we'll crack on with this. Trying to work out what I want to do with the trees, so then I hide the exit as much as I can. A little bit tricky, but I've got these 3 here which I keep knocking over, and then I wanted to put something on the other side to hide, but I haven't worked that out yet, but we'll get there. We can work that out afterwards. Again, I'm just using some PVA glue just to stick all these bits down. I'm not going to have any normal grass flock or anything around the area, but I'll be putting the finely foliage in between the stumps of the trees and everything, which should be good. Now you can see, whilst I'm doing it bit by bit, we put the bits of finely foliage in, and it kind of starts making, you can imagine if you're in the car park and you look over, and yeah, you've got bushes hidden underneath trees and everything like that. So it's just this kind of just out of control growth of bushes, but it's not affecting the car park in any way. I want to put a fence along here. I'll put some shrubbery in there first, I think, and then I'll add the fence in afterwards. But I've been trying to work out what fence I want, as well as to go up here. I want to do something to stop the people that are coming in to accidentally drive onto the track, because we don't want that, do we? So starting off to do the shrubbery, just put some neat PVA glue down. Just get my little paintbrush and take my time. With these things, there's no point rushing it, and the whole idea is to enjoy it. And again, like I said before, it's not a race. Just working my way along, just with my bits of PVA glue. My initial thoughts, but when I was doing this, I was thinking, I hope it doesn't dry down the other end where I've put it on, but it's fine. My left's never too warm. Well, in the summer it is. It's far too warm. Even with my air conditioning unit that I got for it, it still doesn't quite work. So then I use my it's not clump foliage or anything, but it's like that. It's not normal flock. It's kind of this bushy kind of foam flock stuff. I think again it's one of the Woodland Scenics ones. It's quite nice. It matches my other colours that I have around, so I thought that'd be nice. And just work my way across with it, really. Try not to make too much of a mess, because it's a shame to have to hoover up all of that if you don't need to. I got hold of this, it looks like, like iron fencing. It's called spear fencing. I went to Tony's, and he happens to have it. That's Tony's Trains at Rugby. If you want to do Tony's, he's my local model shop, basically. It's like 40 minutes away, and Tony generally has most of the things that you need to build your model railway. So I picked these up from him. I got a couple of packets. I didn't know how many I would need for the future as well. And it's a nice little moulding. Got the spiky bits on there, and yeah, they're nice, and I don't have to paint them because I'm going to leave them black, which is great. So I go straight out the packet, I can fit them to the layout. I just snip them out of the sprue, so you've got one sprue per fence piece, so that's fine. They're kind of quite delicate as well. I don't think they're going to break with me handling them. But, with the detail there, it's all a bit smaller. I'm trying to work out where I start and stop this. But obviously, I'll start it here. And I'll need to drill some little holes and fit it in. On here, I was trying to work out what I want to do with this. So, I'm going to use the normal Great Western Railway wooden type one. I'm not sure the technical term for it. But I was trying to work out how long it would need to be. I can't put a straight wood in because that would just... it won't look very good, I don't think, anyway. So what I want to do is, once I figure this out, I will basically 3D print one at the correct angle, and yeah, we can go from there. I've drawn it up and I brought it into to print, and this is basically the shape of it. It's nothing too exciting. It's a fence, but it's at the correct angle. Well, kind of. It's the best I could do. I don't want to have to make too many iterations of this. So that's printing at the moment. So what I thought I'd do is I'll put in this speared fencing, and I'll just make a few holes. I ended up further down with this, just kind of gluing it in place, and just having one or two holes for the fence posts. They've got their little feet. So it's quite hard because you make your hole and then you try and put it in, and then you can't find it because I've done that foliage first. So it's quite funny, but I figured out in the end kind of finding the little holes. It's like, come on, where are you? Especially when you've got some glue, it's like trying to dry as you're putting it in. So I use super glue in the end on the ends of these to hold it. But test fitting it worked out alright in the end. And then I work out my other holes, and actually they're very hard to get to. I really should have done this step before I put the trees and things in, but you live and learn, don't you? I often get asked what I'm listening to, because I've got my headphones on. I listen to all sorts of YouTube channels. I listen to many of them, more than watch them, as well as I listen to audiobooks. That's kind of nice. And then just general music. I like to listen to all sorts. I've got an eclectic taste in music, so I won't please everyone when they listen to it, but yeah, I like a bit of everything. Just using a bit of super glue, I glue in the kind of connecting part of the speared fence, and then that's it. And with it not being painted, I'm happy, because I would have just painted it black, I guess. An area that I hadn't finished really, and it's far from finished even when I say I haven't finished, I'm not finishing it now. I'm putting these fences in around here, so I wanted to finish off the back side of the station, so it didn't look like I'd just forgotten about it. It's just I hadn't done it, and just simply stick them in. I've got my rocket glue on there, which is quite thick, and I drop it in and just hold it in place and it sticks there. I don't think it needs to be any more robust than that. I had pinned some of the other bits on previously, and yeah, for right reason maybe. They might get knocked, but this is going to be behind the station. I'm eventually going to build some little steps that allow people to walk up to the station, but yeah, this looks fine. It's nice and simple, like really, really simple what I'm doing here. Now, I've painted it up and I've got the angled fence, and that will go up there, and that will meet the speared fence that I've fitted in before. So that's, I don't know, finally complete. We're going to protect the pedestrians from climbing over to the tracks, and you know, even if they wanted to, they now can't. Well, they'd have to hurt themselves a bit, I think, climbing over all of that. These are a item that I picked up at the, I think it's a Great Electric Train Show in Milton Keynes, and these are pretty nice. They're called Sankey Scenics. They are kind of shiny paper sheets which have them on. I thought, oh, maybe they're peel off and you can just stick them on, or maybe it was, I should actually check. But I get my scissors out and just start snipping them out, and I glue them on with my rocket glue. Could probably do with using PVA glue, maybe a bit easier for me to adjust, because once I stuck it on, it was on. You know, I couldn't adjust it once I realised, it's at an angle. You'd have to work really hard to try and get it nice. But you've got a tiny bit of working time, and if you're precise, it's okay. And they all pop on there. I end up putting some on the building as well, which is quite satisfying, because that was my original plan with it. But, you know, the station starts coming together now. You know, we've got all the back scene on there, we've got the fences up, and with the posters and the people, and I've got a few other things I want to put on. It starts coming together nicely. But the other thing I wanted to do was add these wonderful Christmas presents that I had from my mum and dad, and I really wanted to have some form of vehicle on my railway, and I've got some kits that I want to build up, which you'll see featured in a future video. And yeah, these are nice. I'm not going to put all of these in the station, it'd be a shame, because they'll get hidden a bit. And look at them, they look great. These are from Oxford Diecast. They do a fantastic job with all these things. I call them Oxford Diecast, but it's just called Oxford Automobile Company. Yeah, it's just nice looking at all the different ones that they did. But they're just screwed on into this little base here, and so they're not going to get beaten up. So they've done some really nice packaging here, and you get to see the model in full display. It's almost in its own display case, you know, when it's like that. But this is a nice little three-wheeler, and it's a Leeds, what's it called? Leeds Drop Side, it's called, which I kind of like as a little three-wheeler. And then you've got this little Morris 8E. It's a little saloon. I guess families would have used this, I'm guessing. And it's quite cute with its bright red colour and everything, and black arches that are on there. And I think that'll be quite fitting. It'll pop out when we have a little look at the station area. I can always move them around the layout, but it means that I need to have some roads on the layout so I can have cars. I was wondering if these maybe are a little bit shiny, and that I should put some satin varnish on them to kind of dull them off a little bit. What do you think? Obviously, let me know what you think of that one. But I think, yeah, satin varnish would kind of take them down a notch, make the tyres slightly dirty maybe. But yeah, we'll figure out where to put all these things. I do have another vehicle that my dad gave to me a long time ago, actually, when I was getting into this again. And yeah, that's quite nice. And I'd like to find some more like that, but we'll see what happens. You'll see that one now. Here we go. And it's in the nice chocolate and cream colours, which looks brilliant. So very happy with that. So what we'll do is we'll finish off looking at one of my latest additions to the railway. I brought this with an intention to do something with it. At the moment, I'm going to enjoy it as a weathered example that Bachmann supply, and I kind of really like it. It's a haul, and it's good looking, really good looking loco, and I'm happy with it. So I just need to basically run it in and just make full use of enjoying it, really. It doesn't have pickups in the tender, but the details are nice. We've got the copper chimney, and then the 6 wheels do the main work. There's basically, they do the contacts of the track, and I'm used to some of my more modern ones have all the contacts on, which means it should run still okay, but I'd like to improve it. And it's got DCC ready capability in it, and that I could put a chip on it, but to have a sound, a speaker and then everything, it'd be nice to have that in the tender. So I need to run some wires to the tender and do that, and also maybe put some pickups on the tender. But it's a good looking loco, you know. It pulled my carriages round after I ran it in for a little bit. I had a little bit of fun up in the loft, but it's nice having a black weathered loco. But what I think I will do is end up painting it green. So hopefully some of you can forgive me for doing this. But no, it runs nicely. I've got my comp speed controller on it, so it did kind of pulse a little bit at certain speeds, but yeah, it's got modern motors in it, so it should run nicely. And yeah, here's a nice shot. You know, that you got all that in the background, the locos coming through. For me, when I was sitting there watching it all go around, I was so pleased. You know, I can't complain at all, and hopefully, you know, those that have been following me since, let's say, the beginning days of this channel, or even if it was kind of 10 or 15 episodes ago, you'll see how much the layout's changed by having this way. And I'm very pleased with how it's looking, and hopefully it will look better and better the more time that I put into it. I want to sort out the signal box and do some other details, but this is the kind of scene that I want to see a bit more of. You know, I've got my tunnel there that it comes out of. It's my 14XX that I recently painted up. Really pleased with it. So talk about the ones that have stayed with me for a while. I also want to say thank you to my patrons and channel members. Your support is superly appreciated, and I can't thank you enough. A big thank you to all my subscribers that have also been around for forever, some of you it seems, which is wonderful, and I get a lot of very nice comments from you, and I also get ones that are quite critical that kind of tell me where I've gone wrong, which I also appreciate. So please leave a comment below, let me know what you thought of this episode, and if you'd like to support the channel, look at the links below. If not, don't worry, I'll see you soon. You take care, and hopefully I'll bring something enjoyable for you to watch next time. Bye bye.